Welcome to Wenger Arsenal Daily. Welcome, everyone. A massive welcome to every single person reading this today. Whether you have been part of the Wenger Arsenal Daily family for a long time, or this is the very first post of ours you have ever read, we are so glad you are here. This community is built on one simple thing: a genuine and deep love for Arsenal Football Club. And right now, that love is being tested and celebrated at the same time in the most extraordinary way. Before we get into today's story, please go and subscribe to the Wenger Arsenal Daily YouTube channel if you have not already done so. We are one of the most trusted Arsenal channels on the internet. We do not chase clicks with made-up stories. We do not dramatize things just to get views. We give you honest, real, informed Arsenal content every single week. Transfer news, match analysis, squad discussions, and everything else that matters to a Gooner. Go and subscribe to Wenger Arsenal Daily on YouTube right now. Make it your number one source for Arsenal content. You will be glad you did. Now, let us talk about something that is genuinely one of the most beautiful and moving stories to come out of Arsenal Football Club in recent memory. A story about a penalty, a missed penalty, and what the fans did next. The moment that broke hearts and then became something beautiful. Let me ask you a question right at the start of this. When a player misses a crucial penalty in a Champions League final and costs his team a chance at the biggest trophy in club football, what do you expect to happen next? Most people would expect criticism. Most people would expect anger from supporters. Maybe some frustration on social media. Maybe some tough questions about why that player was chosen to take the penalty in the first place. That is what usually happens in football when a big moment goes wrong. But that is not what happened with Gabriel Magalhaes and Arsenal fans. What happened instead was something that tells you everything you need to know about the relationship between this Arsenal squad and this Arsenal fan base. Something that tells you everything about the culture Mikel Arteta has built at this club. And something that, honestly, should make every single person connected to Arsenal feel incredibly proud. After Gabriel missed a crucial penalty in the Champions League final on Saturday, his shirt sales increased by 350%. Not a small bump, not a modest rise. 350%. Arsenal fans did not turn on Gabriel. They ran towards him. They showed him love in the most direct way they could. They went and bought his shirt. And today we're going to sit down and really talk about what that means. About what it says about Arsenal as a club. About what it says about Gabriel as a player and a person, and about why this story is so much bigger than just a number in a sales report. The penalty, what happened and why it mattered. To fully understand the story, we need to go back to that moment in the Champions League final. Arsenal had reached the biggest stage in club football, the Champions League final. A moment this group of players and this set of fans have been building towards through everything they have experienced together over the last few years. The hard seasons, the near misses in the league, the growing pains of a team learning what it takes to compete at the very top level in Europe. And there they were, in the final, everything on the line. When the moment came to the penalty shootout, Gabriel stepped up, a center back, a defender. Someone whose primary job for 90-plus minutes of every game is to stop goals, not score them. He walked up to that spot with the weight of the whole occasion on his shoulders, and he took the penalty. And he missed. In football, there are very few moments more painful to watch than a teammate missing a penalty in a final. Because you feel it with them. You feel the pain of the moment, the silence that follows, the weight of what it might mean for the team. Gabriel knew what it meant. You could see it on his face after the ball missed the target. That look of pure devastation that every footballer knows and every fan recognizes immediately. The look of someone who wanted so much to deliver in the biggest moment and did not get the outcome they were fighting for. And then the Arsenal fans did something extraordinary. Can you remember a time in football when you saw fans respond to a missed penalty the way Arsenal fans responded to Gabriel? Because we cannot think of many examples like it. 350%. Let that number sink in. Shirt sales for Gabriel increased by 350% after the penalty miss. We mentioned that number in the opening of this post, but it is worth coming back to and sitting with for a moment, because it is genuinely remarkable when you really think about what it means. When someone buys a footballer's shirt, they are making a statement. They're saying, I want to represent this person. I want to wear their name on my back. I want to show the world that I support them and I believe in them. In normal times, shirt sales rise after a player does something brilliant. A hat trick, a man-of-the-match performance, a last-minute winner in a big game. Those are the moments that drive people to the club shop and to the online store to buy the number they admire. Gabriel's shirt sales went up after a missed penalty in the Champions League final. That is almost unprecedented. And it speaks to something very specific and very powerful about what Arsenal fans think of Gabriel and what he means to this club. They were not buying his shirt despite the miss. They were buying it because of it, because they wanted him to know that one painful moment does not change how they feel about him, because they wanted the world to see that Arsenal fans stand by their players in the difficult moments just as much as they celebrate with them in the good ones. The number 350% is not just a sales figure. It is a message sent directly from the fan base to a man who was probably sitting somewhere feeling the worst he has felt in a very long time. What do you think when you hear that number? Does it make you proud to be an Arsenal fan? It should, because not every fan base would react that way. Who is Gabriel Magalhaes, and why does he mean so much to Arsenal? For anyone who needs a full picture of who Gabriel is and what he represents for Arsenal, let's talk about that properly. Gabriel Magalhaes is a Brazilian central defender who has been one of the most important players at Arsenal since he signed for the club. He is physical, aggressive, and completely committed to the cause every single time he steps on the pitch. He is not a quiet, polished type of defender who just does his job efficiently and keeps his head down. Gabriel is a warrior. He puts his body into every challenge. He hates losing. He fights for every inch of the pitch as if the result personally means everything to him. And that passion, that fire, that willingness to throw himself into the hardest moments of a game is exactly what Arsenal fans have fallen in love with. Gabriel wears his heart on his sleeve. When Arsenal win, his joy is enormous and completely visible. When Arsenal lose, or when something goes wrong, the pain on his face is real. He does not hide it behind a professional mask. You always know exactly how much it means to him. He has been part of the defensive partnership with William Saliba that has been celebrated as one of the best center-back pairings in the Premier League. The combination of Saliba's composure and reading of the game with Gabriel's physical presence and aggressive defending has given Arsenal one of the most solid defensive foundations they have had in many years. He has scored important goals for Arsenal. He has led the defensive line in big European games. He has been a leader in the dressing room and on the pitch. He is, in many ways, the heart and soul of this Arsenal defensive unit. For Gabriel to be the one who stepped up to take that penalty when it really mattered tells you a lot about the kind of person he is. He did not hide. He did not let someone else carry the responsibility. He put himself forward when the stakes were at their absolute highest. That takes enormous courage. And Arsenal fans recognize that courage even when the outcome is painful. The culture Arteta has built. This is where it shows most clearly. We talk a lot on Wenger Arsenal Daily about the culture Mikel Arteta has built at Arsenal. We talk about the standards, the mentality, the way players carry themselves, the way the team responds to difficult moments. And honestly, the reaction to Gabriel's penalty miss is one of the clearest examples of that culture working exactly as it is supposed to. Because the fan reaction does not happen in isolation. Fans reflect what they see from the club. They mirror the values they observe in the players and the manager. And what Arsenal fans have seen from Arteta and this squad over the last few years is a group of people who support each other, who do not throw anyone under the bus when things go wrong, who stand together in the hard moments. Arteta has spoken many times about the importance of standing by your teammates, about not pointing fingers, about understanding that in football, everyone makes mistakes, and the measure of a team is not whether mistakes happen, but how they respond when they do. That message has clearly landed with the fan base too, because when the fans went and bought Gabriel's shirt in massive numbers after the penalty miss, they were doing exactly what Arteta would have wanted them to do. They were showing the same values the manager has been trying to build into the club. This is not a small thing. The connection between the culture inside the club and the culture among the supporters is real, and it is powerful. And It is one of the things that makes this version of Arsenal genuinely special compared to where the club was just a few years ago. Do you think the culture Arteta has built is the most important thing he has done at Arsenal? We think it might be. Tell us what you think. What Gabriel must be feeling and why the fan response matters so much. Let us think for a moment about Gabriel as a human being, not as a player, not as a statistic in a shirt sales report, but as a person who missed a penalty in a Champions League final and had to live with that feeling. The moment after a miss like that must be one of the loneliest feelings in football. You are surrounded by thousands of people, but in that instant you feel completely alone with what just happened. You know the significance of it. You know what it might mean for the team. You replay the moment over and over in your head, and you wish with everything you have that you could go back and do it differently. Players talk about these moments in interviews sometimes, and the words they use reveal the depth of the pain. It stays with you. It does not just go away after the final whistle. Some players carry the weight of a missed penalty in a big game for years. Now imagine being Gabriel in that situation and then finding out that your shirt sales went up by 350%. That your fans went to the online store and to the club shop not to buy the shirt of the scorer or the hero, but your shirt. The shirt of the player who missed the penalty. What does that do to a person? What does that do to someone who is sitting in the darkest emotional place a footballer can be in after a big game? It tells them they are loved. Unconditionally. Not just when things go well. Not just when the penalty goes in. But always. No matter what. That kind of support from a fan base can lift a player out of the darkest moments and remind them of what matters. It can give them the strength to come back in the next training session, to put the miss behind them, and to keep fighting for the badge and the fans who believe in them. The Arsenal fans who bought Gabriel's shirt this week gave him an enormous gift. They might not realize how much it means, but it means everything. The history of missed penalties and how clubs and fans have responded. To properly appreciate how remarkable this Arsenal fan reaction is, it is worth putting it in the context of how missed penalties in big games have been treated historically. Football has a long and sometimes painful history of how missed penalties in major finals have been received. There have been players whose careers were defined by a missed spot kick in a crucial game. There have been players who faced genuine hostility from sections of their own support after a miss in a big game. There have been players who have spoken about the long-lasting mental and emotional impact of missing a penalty when the stakes were highest. This is not always fair. Taking a penalty in a major final is one of the most difficult things a professional footballer can be asked to do. The pressure is intense. The eyes of millions of people are on you. A small technical mistake in the run-up, a slight misjudgment of the keeper's movement, a fraction of a second of hesitation, and the ball misses the target. These things happen to the very best penalty takers in the world. Players who have scored hundreds of penalties in their careers have missed in big finals. It is part of the game, but not every fan base responds with love and support. Not every club wraps their arms around a player who missed in a big moment. Arsenal fans did, and the shirt sales numbers prove it beyond any doubt. That makes Arsenal supporters stand out in a football world where players in difficult moments sometimes receive the opposite reaction. And it is something every Arsenal fan should be incredibly proud of. The bigger message for football as a whole. The story of Gabriel's shirt sales does not just matter for Arsenal. It matters for football more broadly. There is a conversation that has been growing in football for years about the mental health of players, about the pressure that professional footballers face, about the way social media and public reaction to mistakes can genuinely affect the well-being of players who are also human beings with feelings and vulnerabilities. In that context, what Arsenal fans did after Gabriel's miss is genuinely important. It sent a message that sport does not have to be brutal, that supporters can choose to show love rather than anger, that the relationship between a fan base and its players can be built on something real and human rather than just results and trophies. Players across football are watching how Arsenal fans responded to this. Managers across football are watching. And there will be people thinking about what it says about the power of a healthy and supportive fan culture. Football is better when supporters lift their players in hard moments. When they remember that behind the shirt, there is a person who cares as much about the result as anyone in the stands. when it chose to show kindness rather than frustration. Arsenal fans showed all of that this week, and the whole football world noticed. Do you think other fan bases could learn something from how Arsenal fans responded to Gabriel? We think there is a real lesson here for football culture more broadly. Gabriel will come back stronger. Here is what we know about Gabriel Magalhaes. He is not someone who hides. He is not someone who runs away from a challenge. He is not someone who lets a difficult moment define him in the wrong direction. He is a fighter. He has always been a fighter. From everything he has done in his career before Arsenal to everything he has done since he put on that red and white shirt. He comes back harder every time something goes wrong. He uses the pain as fuel. The missed penalty will not break Gabriel. If anything, knowing what the fans feel about him, knowing that 350% more people wanted to wear his name after the hardest moment of his Arsenal career, will give him something extra. A fire. A determination to be even better next season. To pay back that love in the only way a footballer can. By performing. If you think Gabriel Magalhaes is going to hide from big moments after this, you do not know Gabriel Magalhaes. He is going to walk into next season with his head high. He is going to train harder. He is going to play with everything he has. He is going to stand up in the big moments again because that is who he is. And when he does, when he rises to the biggest moment next season and delivers, the roar from Arsenal fans is going to be something special. Final thoughts. The story of Gabriel's shirt sales is not really a story about shirt sales at all. It is a story about love, about loyalty, about what a football club can be when the relationship between the players and the supporters is built on something genuine and deep. It is a story about a man who stepped up in the biggest moment of his Arsenal career, missed, and was immediately wrapped in the support of tens of thousands of fans who wanted him to know that one moment does not change anything. 350%. That number will go down in Arsenal history, not as a sales figure, but as a symbol of what this fan base is about, of the values that run through this club, from the manager to the players to the supporters in the stands and watching from home. Arsenal fans chose love over frustration. They chose unity over blame. And in doing so, they reminded everyone watching that this Arsenal family is something genuinely special. Thank you so much for following this on Wenger Arsenal Daily. Every one of you who takes the time to read our posts, watch our videos, and join the conversation makes this community what it is. For the most honest and most trusted Arsenal content on the internet, please go and subscribe to the Wenger Arsenal Daily YouTube channel right now. We are there every week for everything that matters to Gooners. Now leave a comment and tell us. How did you feel when you heard about Gabriel's shirt sales going up by 350% after the penalty miss? And what does it say to you about this Arsenal fan base? We want to hear from you. This is your community. We are Arsenal, and we stand together. See you in the next one on Wenger Arsenal Daily.